A New Zealand conservationist, Pete Bethune, has survived a frightening midnight attack by armed pirates off the coast of South America. The Earthrace CEO captain joins us now from an undisclosed location. Obviously, we're not going to ask you because it's important for your safety that people don't know where you are. But can you tell us, Pete, about what happened the night the pirates tried to board it and when you first realised that they were, in fact, pirates?
Yeah, so we'd come into a harbour after running some operations offshore. We're here doing fishery patrols, helping the government. And we'd been anchored up for a few nights, and we knew this is a sketchy area. There's a lot of poverty in that here, and so we were conscious that we were a target. So we'd put in place some security protocols to try and keep the boat safe at night. And then on I think it was our third night here, I had a guy, Brad Rook, who was on watch, and he saw there was a small, about 6 boats passing ahead of us, and you see that quite commonly. There's lots of little fishing boats in the middle of the night and stuff. And then he heard a couple of them sound like they cut their engine, and as they drifted down the side, the first two was one sort of towing another one, but now the motor's broken. So initially he thought that they had engine problems and maybe they needed a hand, and then he sort of saw there was another boat coming behind, and by now we've got a security dog on here, Upper, who's a Belgian Malinois, and we normally use them for tracking people in the jungle. He started going off at them, and then all of a sudden they reached up with these hooks and put these hooks over the top of the railing. And within a few seconds, there was at least 6 or 8 guys all clambering up the side of the ship. And Brad had an assault rifle, so he fired some warning shots in the water, and the bulk of them clambered back down. And there was a lot of shouting, and Upper, our dog, was going ballistic at them. And then there was 2 more pirates on the stern of the ship that were slightly blocked from Brad's view. They started climbing up on the back, and with all the commotion, the rest of the crew were running out of the beds, and we all knew what was happening. And my engineer, Larry Rutledge, he came out of the aft crew quarters, and he looks astern, and he's shining a spotlight back, and here's these 2 guys just climbing over the railing. And I think Brad, he let off another shot or 2 at them. And then they were there for several seconds. You could just sort of weighing up, are they going to climb aboard and risk it? And in the end, thankfully, they climbed back down. And then, so now there was these 6 boats. They drifted off astern of us, about 150 metres behind us, and they sat there, and we could hear them sort of talk, and we could hear motors getting started back up again.
Wow.
And then eventually they yelled some stuff out at us, and then they disappeared from the area. But
that's pretty close to boarding your boat, isn't it?
Yeah, one of the things, Melissa, is once they're aboard your boat, things change. Like for them to climb the side, they can't use weapons. Like your hands are busy climbing the side of the boat. But if they get on the boat, it's a different story. And we think there was at least 15, maybe 18 guys in these skips. And so if they had got on their boat, things would have been really ugly. And so, we're thankful no one ended up having to be shot and no one got injured. But
did they have weapons on them?
It was a terrifying night. They will have had machetes and knives. We don't know whether they had firearms. Like, we never saw any. But if you're climbing the side of a boat, you can't use a firearm because your hands are busy. So we don't actually know. Certainly there's a lot of firearms in this area. Like, this area has a lot of problems with narco traffic and various other things. So we don't know the answer to that. But, either way, if they get on the board, even if they've got machetes or whatever, we're in a very difficult situation, eh?
Is the fear now, I guess, that they could return? I mean, they obviously didn't take off straight away. They sat there perhaps deciding what they were going to do. How do you feel now?
Yeah, like since then, we've had some pretty sleepless nights. Every night we go to bed. We're leaving the area now. We're underway and heading back out on an operation now. And it is funny, the security protocols, we've trained for this a number of times. You actually never think it's going to happen to you. And then to see these guys climbing up the side of the boat, quite horrifying. Will they be back? I don't know. But we've made a few changes to the way we run the security at night as well. And, I think we're as equipped as we can be given the circumstance. But you do worry that they'll be back at some stage.
Pete, with your conservation work, you just over a year ago, you were bitten by a snake. That was near fatal for you. This could have turned out really badly. I mean, you haven't exactly picked an easy life for yourself, have you? No, I imagined conservationists, drinking pina coladas and sitting under coconuts and saving turtles kind of thing, But look, I'm not complaining about it. I've sort of chosen my career. I work on conservation and saving marine life, and I accept that there's risks come with that. And
when we came to this country, we knew that there was a risk of this type of thing, and I accept those risks, and I just try and plan and have my team trained as best we can so that we're equipped to deal with them. And in many ways, you know, the country here is poor and their Navy's very busy addressing narco traffic and other things, and it means there is a big hole in their fisheries. They have very little in the way of fisheries enforcement. So there's a valuable role that my team can play here, but it does come with its risks.
Well, take care and please look after yourself, and let's not talk again like this about the next drama, okay? Stay safe.
Listen, we keep having these meetings, don't we?
We do. The first time was, you know, when you were in that Japanese jail, so we don't want you back there either. Earthrace CEO Captain
I'll tick that box.
Pete Bethune, I really appreciate your time. Thanks.